Hello and welcome to the Other 14 FC podcast. I'm Alex, Crystal Palace fan.
And I'm Tom, a hostage of West Ham United.
And this is your podcast for everything not top six. Tired of your team being last on match of the day and not getting the flowers they deserve? Well, that's about change. Tom, what do we have for listeners this week?
Punching the so-called Big Six in the teeth, Sunderland, Brentford and Villa's wins top the bill. Are Bournemouth in a title race? And Wolves have reached the team fighting the fans phase in their faltering season. And lastly, there was a lovely reunion with Eberechi as I wasn't there for you, Alex.
Yeah, damn right, in the most boring game ever. Can that be the us reviewing that game? Because there's fucking enough to talk about from that.
It's pretty much, we definitely won't be starting with Palace this week. I can tell you that, listeners.
Mate, I hope we're right at the bottom this week because there's nothing. But yeah, God, it's nice seeing your face again after traipsing around all North London with you last Saturday. Should we enlighten the listeners with some of the antics that happened to us on our big Saturday day out?
Yeah, go for it. Explain our big silly Saturday.
Our big silly Saturday starts with me going all the way to Southgate to see Tom's new place. Then from Southgate to Wembley Stadium for Rugby League Ashes. So we're not just football fans. We're what was it? Exploring our horizons in new sports.
We're broadening our horizons.
Yeah.
We're trying new things in our 30s, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Then we have Constant Eve as Alexandra Palace thinking, oh yeah, it's not too hard getting across North London. Me being a South Londoner thinking it's easier up there to get across sideways. But yeah, then we end up at Willesden Junction where our train breaks down and we find ourselves in the quaintest little Irish pub that looked absolutely terrifying from the outside. Even me, who likes a rough-looking boozer, was a bit like, oh, this might be a bit touch and go.
Shout out to the sportsmans in Willesden Junction. It absolutely served us in a pinch right there.
It really did. If anyone's ever finds himself in Willesden Junction for some reason and needs a pint, highly recommend Sportsman, pool table, dartboard, really good Guinness. And then, then we had our 30-minute Uber across to, Muswell Hill, a cheeky pint in Muswell Hill, then over to the concert. And I think I left my house at 9 a.m, didn't get back till 2 in the morning. So
but you had a great Saturday, didn't you?
Yeah, it was very enjoyable, mate, not gonna lie. I found out about non-alcoholic beers. Non-alcoholic Stella being the one, apparently.
Stella Artois Zero absolutely rocked your world.
Who knew that, mate? Might be saving my life, maybe. Maybe I won't be a degenerate alcoholic any longer. But
Well, I did end up with the cold that I told you I was absolutely going to get. Like, after all these sporting events and gigs and stuff, it was just bound to wipe me out. And I've been bedridden, sofa-ridden for the past 2 days. And so I apologise if my sultry tones aren't as good as they usually are, listeners, but I've got a Lemsip and honey here, so I'm going to battle on through.
No, mate, you sound as monotone and awful as ever, don't worry. Cool, okay, let's take a break then and get into the games, because there's quite a lot to talk about, I think, this week.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, and we're back, so Tom, where do you want to start this weekend? I think there's a few games we could probably start with, but does one stand out to you?
Yeah, there's definitely a few quality games up top, but I think we're going to have to go for one that I kind of felt that they could have got something from this game, and they ended up getting more than I expected. Sunderland's 2-1 away victory at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, I was going to say, because in your predictions last week, you thought they'd get something, didn't you? And you were gunning for a draw. I just didn't see it myself at all. But
Yeah.
I mean, they really did it. I think when we were leaving Wembley, we saw a scoreline and you said it might have been a bit of a smash and grab. But from looking at the highlights, I don't really think it was a smash and grab, in all honesty. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think they played their brand of football and they were like they let Chelsea have the ball a lot, but they played a really, really physical style of football. They defended really well for the majority of the game, except for probably Chelsea's only real chance of note, the goal that they conceded, where I'm not used to seeing Robin Roofs beaten so easily. I thought that was quite uncharacteristic for him.
I wrote down in my notes on that one. I was like, oh, he's probably due like an unlucky, well, not an unlucky one. He's due one to go through him with all like the saves he's been making. I mean, I think he made up for it because he had a couple of big saves with his body later on in the game to really like keep it at 1-1 for Sunderland. But like you say, I think they defended well and they knew their game plan and they stuck to their game plan the whole game, and it ended up paying off. They looked dangerous on the counter attack multiple times against Chelsea, and I like I said, I don't think it was smash and grab at all. I think they turned up and did their job well.
Yeah. I think they bullied Chelsea at times. I think, as I say, they gave them the ball, but they were compact in defence and they were unleashed on the counter attack multiple chances. Like the one that Isidore gets, they just sort of pounce on the chaos from the long throw. But they're creating chances throughout the game. They were fully in this, well deserved their win.
Mate, we need to take a pause for 1 second.
Should have.
It's my boy.
Yeah, your boy there fucking doing bits again. Yeah, it was a very, very scrappy goal from the long throw. Like you say, it just created madness in the box. But once again, part of Sunderland's game plan, how are we going to get at Chelsea in ways like this? Because you know their defence isn't that strong. You know that goalkeeper's not going to come to clear anything. That's like a trait of Robert Sanchez for sure. And yeah, it felt like Sunderland's day. I mean, scoring down our away end, you could see it was absolute limbs in the away end for those Sunderland fans when what was it, Brobby?
Brian
Brobby.
Brobby.
God, fucking first time.
A
Um,
mouthful.
mouth of go at all. But I think it was no, it was hold up play from Brobby, wasn't it?
Yeah, hold up
Yeah,
play from Robbie. It was amazing hold up play from Robbie, but it was almost too easy for him. Like he held on to the ball for what felt like 10, 15
that's the thing. Is
seconds.
there
Like whilst
what's it like?
it
Where are the Chelsea players? Why
like
isn't
there
none
were
of them on his back?
two on him. Why
Yeah,
didn't one of you make a tackle? Like they were just waiting for him to lose the ball by himself. But Robbie's a decent player. He's come through Ajax, like he's played Champions League football. He held the ball up for what felt like an age,
he
and
did it.
then
That's the first
like
time in ages I've seen one look that almost comical of how it
that
was just like,
comical. It looked like it was like him playing against us. Like
yeah,
we wouldn't be able to get the ball off him, but like he just waits and waits, and then there's two Sunderland players who come up to get him, and he finds Talby, who just slots it home nicely,
such a
like
composed
nicely. Just
finish, isn't it?
find Yeah, for that time of the game, for a 20-year-old player to like get his first Premier League goal again away at Stamford Bridge in what was it, the 93rd minute, right in front of the away fans. Absolute cool, calm, collected finish, and then scenes.
Absolute scenes are. Would love to have been our way and have been a Sunderland fan. It must have been unreal to say the least. But yeah, I actually did a number on it. But I think their defending, I think you mentioned already, it was as rugged as ever, smothering any chances Chelsea really had, apart from the early goal from Garnacho. But I think one defender that stuck out, and I mean he's probably a talisman for Chelsea, for Sunderland at this point, is Ballard at the back, absolutely doing bits.
Yeah, Dan Ballard he's come from good pedigree. He was in Arsenal's academy, Dan Ballard, and he's really made a name for himself at Sunderland. Is with all the new signings. I know we mentioned it a few weeks ago. With all the new signings, it's good to see one of their standouts of their promotion season and their time in the Championship still in the first team and still making such an impact because he is the beating heart of that defense. They've signed all these like really big names like Mukiele, Alderete, etc. Like in defence, like Reynildo and that, and for them to be galvanised around this the Dan Ballard, who obviously got that incredible goal to in the semi-final of the playoff. But yeah, he really dictates Sunderland's physical brand of football. Like him, Xhaka, like they were at the heart of this performance. There was a funny one moment for Xhaka where he unleashed himself and went 60 yards
That
and
was
like was
mental,
in the
wasn't it?
box.
It's like,
And
where
then
did
you
that come
clearly kind of just realised he was like, ah shit, what am I doing?
what am I doing up here? And then he looked, there was a pass on, wasn't there? He could have like
hmm
squared it, but he was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go for the shot here. Probably the wrong decision, but it is that spine of that team was just doing the business for Sunderland, really. Like defensively, then Xhaka like just being able to thread the passes on the break. But the one for the goal, I can't remember who plays that for Sunderland, but it just looks like a kick and hope, doesn't it? Just get that ball fucking up the pitch. And then yeah, Robbie's running onto it and being able to hold it up. I felt really good for Sunderland then. And then, do you think Sunderland are in the title race now?
Maybe it's getting to that point now where they've got so many points on the board that they're just like, well, why don't we start to look up? Because, 17 points after 9 games, it would have to be a catastrophic fall off for them to finish in the bottom half even. Like they'll obviously go through dips throughout the season, but they should be looking at a European place finish, I think, at this point. Like it might be too early to say that, but the way that they've been playing, the way that they just don't they're not seemingly scared of anyone.
No, that's it. But we said like at home, yes, well, they'll make that a fortress, or they have made that a fortress already, and they'll pick up points there. But like they'll probably not win much or do little away. Going to Stamford Bridge again, a win after just coming back up. That's no easy feat. Like I don't think we've won maybe once there or twice there since coming back up. Like it
I did.
is.
This is the reason why I thought they'd get something. I wasn't strong enough to back them to get a win in our predictions last week, but I just thought the style of football that Sunderland have been playing, that physical brand, they're not taking any prisoners. They think they're good enough to beat anyone. Like they as they proved in this match. Like I just thought that really matched up well with Chelsea, who are not that good really. They've got so many like players coming in and out of the team. I think they're generally a much weaker, like physically team. So like I think Sunderland were able to bully them off the ball at times. They were able to put in crunching tackles, and they were able to exploit them in defence as well.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you there. An absolute horrid team that I do not look forward to playing again this season, especially at the Stadium of Light. I think we may have got off lucky to only, well, we'll get away with a draw against them, even though at the time it felt like it's a game we should have won. Anything else about that game? I mean, I just can't do anything more than just give Sunderland praise for how they've taken to the Premier League since coming back up.
Yeah, no, nothing else to say. Just props to Sunderland, and I bet that was an amazing away day for those fans.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. Where do you want to move to next then?
Let's go to the team that beat my West Ham on Monday night last week. Brentford make it back-to-back wins again, getting a 3-2 over Liverpool.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Brentford, I was worried to begin with, especially after the first few games, but they've really put it together now, and they're looking like the Brentford that we have expected from seasons before, and they're doing it without the players that everyone expected that they needed. I think for me, it was a bit of a Damsgaard show for this one, as usual. I think when he's taken over, that Brentford team's always going to be looking good, and then having someone like Jordan Henderson next to him as well is just letting him excel in a more forward position. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. When you've got the quality of passing between those two on the pitch, you're going to be able to find any of your attackers. And with the likes of Utara, Sade, and Thiago, who all get on the score sheet in this one, and they're always looking to go over the top, like they're always ready to make that run. Damsgaard, the pass for Shade's goal from him was just absolutely sublime.
Beautiful, wasn't it? Like absolutely like a knife through butter, cutting through that Liverpool defence. That's the one where he got Canate just giving up on it as well?
Yeah,
So
weird.
fucking
Like it's just like he just decides to not make the tackle. Like he's just like he could easily get ahead of him, but fair,
mate,
like just decided to give it up.
I enjoyed watching that because the amount of people when Mark was linked with Liverpool was just like, yeah, but he's going to not start ahead of Canate. I was like, Canate's shit, man. Like, what is going on? And it's just been proven the last few games that that one was especially bad. But my other thing I liked, one of the things I think I've said in this podcast before, Van Dijk not being passed, dribble past lives rent free in my brain. Well, you can't dribble past him if he's fouling you, can you? And giving away penalties. So, what was your thought on the penalty decision?
It was a weird one because it's just right on the line, but like he does kick his foot, so like
How much is that a decision that usually goes for a top six team? Do you know what I mean? That's one word you usually be sat there and being like, yeah, of course, first time I've ever heard that rule come up, that it's on the line, so it's clearly a pen.
well, there were a couple in this match that I thought it's interesting that they didn't go against Brentford because as we've seen more often than not, they would have gone for the top six team, like the Collins tackle on Gakpo. That Gakpo makes the most of it,
Yeah, I
but there
think,
is a small bit of contact, I think, in the box,
no, I'm
and
not having that.
I was just surprised that they didn't give it to Liverpool. I'm
Yeah,
glad they didn't. I don't think it's really I don't think it's a definite penalty, but I do think it's a challenge in the box, and I was just surprised they didn't give it.
yeah, to be fair, I don't think that's a penalty, but you're right. I think that's one that you see get given to a top six, or especially Liverpool, all the time. Maybe their luck's just completely run out of it. Could you figure out why there was so much stoppage time to allow Liverpool to score in the first half, though? That was weird. I know Brentford get the goal, but there was some
Well,
odd refereeing.
you explained it there, didn't you? To
Yeah,
to allow Liverpool to get the goal, they were like, oh, actually, Liverpool are on the attack. Let's just hold that whistle for a second. I don't know. Maybe the ref was feeling his injury because he went off at half time to get switched with the fourth official, and maybe it was a head injury, so he just didn't realise that it didn't think to look at his watch or something. But yeah, that felt very much like one of those that Liverpool always seem to get. But you know, like straight from the off, Brentford were at Liverpool
yeah.
in their faces. Like we got to touch on the first one.
I just want to say though, before we get into the long throw, I love that everyone's being like, "Oh, Coyote, long throw." That's what Brentford did to win the game. They did much more than just a long throw to win this game, and it wasn't just like set pieces from them. It was them dominating the game, having great chances from people like Damsgaard, from Otara. Like they did a lot in this game, and I don't want it because the media is just making it out to seem like, yeah, long throw specialist. That's how they won this. It was nothing to do with that. But yeah, go on, talk about how the first goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a weird situation because the long throws have been around for months now. It's not really this like brand new trend that's happening. Like it's just seemingly come back after a few years out of the game. But, you know, when you've got someone like Coyote who can just absolutely launch a throw in into the 6 yard box, and in this one, Collins gets a knock on, and then it's Utara to finish at the back post.
The
But
nice like half
they've
bicycle kick type of finish as well, isn't
mhm,
it? Like I do like
yeah.
that. What do you class it as? More of a scissor kick than a bicycle kick?
Well, I don't think it was that much. I think it was just more like a volley, but like it's just like an acrobatic finish kind of
Yeah.
thing. I don't think it was like a full-on sort of bicycle or scissor, but still an excellent finish because it's coming at an awkward height sort of thing, and he absolutely like lashes it into the back of the net. But they've got really good range and like different tactics from these long throws as well. So like they are using them like corners where they've got like they'll either go near post or like they'll have someone flick on or they'll go straight for like straight to get it headed in or something like that. Like they're really using them well, and it's no surprise that they've got like Keith Andrews, who was their set piece coach last year, still instilling that into the team that how the value of set pieces, the value of long throws when you've got Coyote who can launch them in. It's just an excellent thing for them to be able to use. Before this game, I was thinking about Brentford, and I was like, all right, they handled West Ham last week. Was that just a case of West Ham looking terrible because West Ham looked terrible again on Friday night against Leeds? But Brentford proved this one that it wasn't just a case of the opposition last week for them. It was a no. This Brentford team might be putting it together after
Yeah.
up and down first 7 or 8 games of the season, and now they've shown they can take out one of the big boys. I tried to do some research into this and I could not find what the record was, but it just feels like Brentford's record at 8 p.m. at the G-Tech
I
on a
was
Saturday night is really good.
you bastard,
Nothing would give me the
asking that.
answer. Nothing would give me the answer, but
I was literally about to say the same thing, like Brentford under the lights of the G Tech. I was going to be like, yeah, it just seems to happen for them. But it does seem like that in the back of your head, doesn't it? That they get all those big results against a big six team at those times. But I mean, they were just brilliant. I think they may have been quite sloppy for the Mo Salah goal, but at that point in the game. But you also think right at the end where the ref gives the corner for Kelleher holding on to it for so long, you're just there like, fuck me. If there's ever going to be more of a time for Liverpool to get an equaliser, it's going to be that, and you'd be absolutely seething if you were a Brentford fan, wouldn't you?
yeah, for sure. They had put their bodies on the line throughout time and time again in this one in defence, so I can kind of like give them leeway when with the Salah one, and yeah, they got away with that at the end because I think they deserve to win this game. Like I think
100% deserve to win, yeah.
they opened Liverpool up time and time again. They put their bodies on the line in defence. They played a really good complementary game, and up against quality of opposition, they were the better team overall in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's almost like the Sunderland game. I just cannot give more praise to Brentford. And I don't look forward to playing them next Saturday at Selhurst. Like, I feel like they're another team that's going to do an absolute number on us. And I said it to you at the beginning of the season, I'm scared of Henderson and Damsgaard being in the midfield. And I know that they're going to cause me so much anger and so much sadness on Saturday. Like, it's just going to be fucking painful for me. But what can you do? Anything else you want to touch on that game before we move on to the next one?
Nah, let's go to the next one.
Cool. I think who are we going for? Villa City, next one?
I think so.
Nice. I want to preempt this with that City kit is probably my least favourite kit in the league now. I thought the
I
Brentford
knew
ones
I
were
knew
bad.
you were going to mention this.
Yeah, I thought the Brentford ones were bad, like, but this one, it's a especially shit, if I'm being honest. But yeah, a May Cash absolute wonder strike. I guess he heard us say last week that we didn't rate him much, but yeah,
Well, you didn't rate him as much.
you said exactly you don't rate him either. I did too, because I was like, you usually call me out on my bullshit, but you were like, yeah, I don't really rate him either after that assist. But yeah, I mean, he shut us right up, didn't he, with that strike with his left foot.
Yeah, lovely wrong foot finish from Cash. He just absolutely took, I think, everyone by surprise. Like, I don't think Donnarumma was expecting him to like lash it back into the bottom corner with his left foot. He's since gone on to celebrate this news with a new contract at Villa as well. So, very happy week for Mateus Cash, as he likes to be called now. Now he's a Polish international.
Now he's Polish international. Who saw that one coming? It still blows my mind. But I think Villa did really well. They seemed to limit City to very few chances. I know there's a Haaland one quite early on in the game, but I mean Martinez does
Well,
well
there's
to
a
stop that.
couple of Haaland ones that were right at Martinez, so
Yeah,
I expect Martinez to make both of those saves, and they did well enough to sort of make Haaland slightly off balance when he was taking those chances as well. Like they didn't give him the space that some other teams have been giving him.
yeah, I exactly that. And I think Villa looked really good for the win. I don't think they seemed too uncomfortable at any point. It just seemed like almost a routine win for them over a seaside that I think we both thought were picking up and going this big run now. And it just shows that Emery's really turned it around up at Villa Park. I said it last week, I'll say it again. From when I went up there, what was it, at the end of August or whenever I was there, I thought they were going to be relegation fodder of that performance. And even like the atmosphere and like all the fans leaving early when they're 3-0 down against us, it's a different club altogether from what I'm seeing now, and they're all pulling forward. And they look like the Villa of last season, and they look good for being high up the table. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. In this one, Man City are going to have a lot of the ball. That's just part and parcel of playing a Guardiola team. But Emery had them drilled so well. They were excellent on the counter attack in this one, created so many chances that they definitely could have got more than just the one. Their set piece game was absolutely on point in this game as well. They were a constant threat from corners.
So dangerous from corners. It was insane, wasn't it? Like you don't understand
Yeah.
how he didn't get another one or just anything.
McGinn probably should have got one. Like he had two really good chances that they were close.
Yeah, and I mean the only downside I really saw for Villa from this was the Buendia injury.
Yeah,
Like,
because it was looking really bright early on.
yeah, I think he's coming to his own again this season, and yeah, I think it might be a bit of a worry. But Villa do have a bit of depth compared to some teams up there. Like I know we had our dilemma the whole of last season about Newcastle having no depth and Villa having a bit more depth to them. So that's yeah, but it's just you feel for him.
Yeah.
You hope it's not too serious an injury.
Yeah, well, interestingly, in this one, when Buendia does go off, Sancho came on, and he had played really well on in their Thursday night loss in the Europa League. But he came off again. He came on, and then he suffered the ignominious feat of going back, being substituted back off later in the match. I thought he played pretty well when he was on the pitch, but maybe he's still unfit, and he'd played quite a
I
lot on
no,
Thursday night.
I think it might have just been more to do with like how Emery wanted to change the formation and like get more defensive with it rather than actually his fitness or anything like that. Also, we're not talking about any football games that happened on Thursday night, so can we stop that right now? No, but what I was going to say, the Pau Torres clearance at the end of the game. I know it's reaction and complete luck, if I'm going to be honest, but like take praise for it, even if it is luck. He's done really well to get that over the bar, hasn't he?
Mate, you got to be in the position to get the slice of luck. There are plenty of other teams who aren't their defenders aren't getting in those positions to make that clearance. Pau Torres, that he's summed up how Emery's got them galvanized. They're 4 wins in the league on the bounce. They're looking up the table where they were struggling earlier in the season. He's got them. He's got that that atmosphere back at Villa Park, taking on Man City. I think actually you thought that Villa had a chance in this one, and then you completely bottled the prediction and and succumbed to the Man City of it all. But you know, they were it wasn't just the Pau Torres off the line. They were making last ditch blocks and saves throughout this game when they had to, and that's just sort of what Villa have been doing under Emery for his whole tenure, and that was kind of maybe missing at the start of the season when they were a little bit soft, a little bit easy to get through. They've got that back now, and you know they're another team who are just going to be looking up the league.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's still so early in the season. Like all those things I was thinking about certain teams at the beginning. You're looking at Villa now, eighth. They're they're looking like they're going to go strength for strength. Brentford, 13 points, same as Palace. They look like they're going to be on strength for strength. Like it's kind of crazy how a lot of teams have really found their feet in the league and just in time, really, rather than getting caught in the corner dungeon like you are at the moment, West Ham.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of a gap opening up down the bottom, isn't there?
Yeah.
I think unless you have any more on that one, then we can go to one of those games involving some bottom five sides.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Where do you want to move to? Burnley, Wolves? Oh, Wolves, Burnley, sorry.
Yeah, I think we have to. This game was a bit crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we obviously saw the results come through on our phones when we were there, and it was just a bit like, oh, that's got to be a bit of a damning result for Wolves. And obviously, I guess we'll touch on everything that happened after the game. But I mean, if you look at it, going 2-0 down, it the Wolves fans are obviously fuming, but to then be 2-2 by half time, what is the mindset of the Wolves fans and players at that point going into the dressing room? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's so weird because they were singing "You're not fit to wear the shirt" at 2-0 down, rightfully so, in my opinion. But then Wolves, we've said this season, in the majority of these games, they have been playing with some sort of pride, and they've been in most of these games. Like they haven't been getting like absolutely blasted a lot. Like this one, obviously, you're 2-0 down, but they had the fight to come back in there. Like there are like, West Ham haven't shown that fight. Like Wolves were showing that fight, and they managed to get back from 2-0 down to 2-2, and I think that's probably what's caused the post game scenes is
Meltdown.
that
Yeah.
they got that back to 2-2. They were actually the better team throughout the second half. They looked like the only team who were going to push on and get a winner in this one, and they got absolutely sucker punched. We should come on to Burnley, but like
No,
because
no.
they like
Let's touch on the after the full time scenes. Then we can touch on like everything happening in the game. I think like Strand Larson and Victor Pereira go into the fans. I respect that, and I kind of like want my team to be doing that. I know it doesn't look good, but I'd rather them facing up to it and fronting up to it rather than like just walking away and not accepting it. I know it doesn't
I
look
don't know.
good, but
I don't know if this ever works out well for
well,
anyone.
what would you say? Bowen did it for you guys at Molineux in the League Cup, and did you not
Yeah,
prefer showing he gave a shit? Like these players, I think for Wolves give a shit.
a bit, but I think this one almost felt like a little bit like I don't know. It just felt a bit like they were actually arguing with the fans and just disagreeing. Like I don't think Pereira's going to be going to the local anytime soon, like he
But
was last season.
what if that gives them the fire up the arse they need to then go get us some results, and then I think he is back in the pub. He's back on the pints with all the fans. Do you know what I mean? We had something similar 2 years ago with Joachim Andersen, like arguing with the HF at Palace away at Brighton after we got pumped 3-0 there, or 3-1 was it in the end? And I don't think anyone walked away like, oh, fuck him, like, he's a prick. It was more like, yeah, he's actually got some bottle, like, he clearly cares. Do you know what I mean? That's all I want from my team. I want them to be given a shit.
Yeah, I just feel like this very always quite often feels like the end of the road for someone.
Ah,
Like
no, no, I
Like I
don't.
feel like this isn't like usually a situation that managers come back from when they start infighting with the fans of the team and when they start blaming and start like saying these things that the pressure is so overwhelming on them that they start turning against like players and fans. Like, I just feel like someone's like Pereira's probably not long for this role.
Ah, I don't know. I think it makes it riskier, but I think if he goes away and they get some form again, then it's looked back as like a turning point in it. But yeah, I guess mine's for gonna be judged on hindsight, isn't it? like in the future. But hey,
Yeah, well, I mean, like they should have got something from this game. I think there's probably just frustration from everyone,
yeah,
like the fans and that. Like in the as I say, in the second half, like they were a much better team. They almost got a goal from a John Arias free kick. He
that
doesn't
free
get
kick.
the luck of the bounce,
Yeah,
hits the
even bouncing off the
crossbar,
keeper as
doesn't get the
well.
keep. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. They like It's a huge save from Dubravka when they're 3-2 up in the dying
time
minutes.
minutes. Yeah,
Like,
big one-handed save from Dubravka. Absolutely mad. Was it you
yeah,
saying that Dubravka isn't a Premier League keeper as well, or you talk? No, you're talking about
I just
Cardalo,
did.
aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Caldalo.
I always get them mixed
Um,
up. Okay, let's use this as a point then to go and talk about the goals and talk more about Burnley because I want to start with that one of the Fleming goals. If Messi is scoring that one where it's like the
the
ball from
first one.
halfway line, yeah, the first one from Hartman. If Messi's scoring that, it's fucking getting replayed everywhere. It's like goal of the season straight away. It's not too dissimilar. Well, I guess it's a little bit dissimilar from the Van Persie one because he's a bit closer to goal, but it's still like on the volley into the bottom corner. It is an absolute class goal.
Yeah, it's a beautiful goal. It pains me to give praise to a former Millwall striker, but that is an excellent goal for him to just outside the box, first time with your instep, just place it into the bottom court, like the bottom corner. That is just like sensational. Like it is like it's not the Van Persie, it's not a screamer or anything,
No,
but it is just such a like talent. Like it shows how talented you are as a footballer, I think, because that is very easily to get that wrong. You just like don't get the angle on it, or you hit it you hit it back too hard and it could bounce off your foot really like wildly. I think he's done really well with that one, especially from how far out he was to just
yeah,
place it.
I can't believe a bigger deal wasn't made out of it. Like that's one of those ones that we should have known about it on the day. I know I'd had a few beers, but he was sober enough. Like there was no socials really making a big deal out of it from what I saw. So yeah, that was that one. Then the second goal I think was just it was so easy for Burnley for the second one. And that's probably why there's so much frustration around Molineux after that one goes in.
Yeah, it's good centre forward play from Fleming for the second one. He's just sort of lost the attacker, but yeah, it was just good centre forward play, and I think that's one of those that Wolves have been conceding this season when they've been a little bit soft. I also don't know why you think this game happened on Saturday. It definitely happened on Sunday.
Oh my god, am I being what? Uh,
Because I watched the second half of this when you were at
oh man, I'm getting the
Arsenal.
days mixed up. Definitely get my days mixed up because it must have been when I was walking out at half time at the Palace game. Mate, it
Yeah.
was too much North London. The whole day just blurred into one for me. That's all it was.
Uh, but yeah, so Burnley go 2-0 up with those two Fleming goals, and then they massively went into their shell. I feel like they kind of just went like, oh, 2-0 against Wolves, we'll probably be all right here. Like we don't need to go out that much. Like we can sit and tuck ourselves in and see this out. And then that, like as we say, Wolves have been in most of these games, I feel, and like that invited the pressure from Wolves. They still have talented players,
Yeah,
like
they
the
did well not to completely capitulate after going 2-0 down in the first half. Like, that is a big strength to have not have done that. That's clearly open to being bottom of the table, not getting a win, a game that you have to win, basically, and going down 2-0. You could have finished this game 5-0 down and the fans going completely mental to be able to come back with a penalty, which I think probably was a penalty. Would you agree?
yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
definitely a penalty. Yeah, I didn't
Strand,
really have any much notes on that. It's just a nice,
yeah.
definitely a penalty and a nice finish from Strand Larson.
Yeah, and then Menezes getting a second one. It's just a massive turnaround. I don't know if it's a bit sloppy defending from Burnley for that one, or maybe just desire from him to want to get his head on it. But
Well,
yeah,
I think the player to call out in that one is Bellegarde, and the player to call
yeah,
out in a lot of this game was Bellegarde. Actually, like he's someone that I think is very raw, but that rawness can cause trouble. Like similar to how players like Balassi, Adama Traore, like those sort of wingers that the defense don't know what they're going to do with because I don't
they
think
don't
the
know.
player knows what
Yeah,
they're going to do.
I love that
Like he's
analogy.
just
That was
like,
Yannick.
yeah, Yannick all over. Like, I don't, like he's just like, all right, where's he going to go with this one? His touch isn't great, so it's like 3-4 yards out ahead of him. But he's quick, so he'll stretch out and he'll get to the ball before you, and he gets the ball in, and then it comes back in from Krejci, I believe it was, and then Militz gets a head on it, and it's 2-2, and you think, wow, Wolves have done it. Like they're going to go on, and as I said before, they were pushing. They felt much more likely to get the winner, and then it's a moment
Bad goal.
just
Bad goal.
it's a bad goal for Wolves for 100%. They just throw the ball to Burnley essentially. Like they just throw it back in within a second. They're dispossessed, and Burnley are celebrating. And the finish from Foster, it felt like it took an age for that to go over the line. Like it was just like trickling through the past Sam Johnston, and there was a Wolves player desperately trying to run back and clear it, and it's just trickling
It is
closer and closer over the line.
Heartbreaking for Wolves fans. I know it's kind of may contradict what I'm saying like earlier about maybe like arguing the crowd might be the point that like pushes them forward and galvanizes the season, but could that goal be a complete season killer as well? Like it's one of those where it's like it's bad times all around, and it's not really something the fans are going to go home and forget about anytime soon. I've been in those positions with Palace before, and it's basically taken me a week to get over it. I'd won when I left the game, and I was like, "That's it, putting all my Palace stuff in the attic. I'm never fucking not whine about it. I can't get this angry over football." So yeah, I hope Wolves fans aren't feeling like that. But yeah, I mean, it's a massive win for Burnley though. At the end of the day, even if they probably weren't good for the win, but finding a way to do it, that's the most important thing.
Oh, 100%. Burnley needed this win massively. Like that's 2 wins on the bounce for them now, beating Leeds last week, and now Wolves, 2 teams who are in and around them as well. You know, as we said last week, Burnley and Leeds, they're not in the same category as Sunderland so far this season. They're still thinking first thought is survival, and getting wins like this where, you know, you were playing well, the game went away from you for a bit, and you managed to claw something out when you weren't playing as well in the second half, and get 3 points is absolutely massive, because Wolves have been absolutely desperate for that point. Like obviously they would have loved to win the game, but like Wolves would have been desperate to get a point, and that would have kept Burnley back in it. They would have, but now they're a few points clearer. They can breathe a little bit lighter, and maybe start like hopefully they can put a little run together for them. They, like as I say, two wins on the bounce. Whereas on the flip side for Wolves, it's now 2 draws out of the last 5, and 2 draws all season, 2 draws out of the last 9, 7 defeats already.
With that, there's a stat that Match of the Day pulled up, which is actually quite an interesting one. Basically, after 10 games, promoted teams with more than 11 points, all 100 have survived. All 100, or 100% of them have survived. So that's Sunderland now on 17, Leeds on 11, and Burnley on 10. That's from 9 games. So it's looking pretty rosy for them, all in all honesty. Whereas you go down to teams that have had like 8, 10 points, only 1 survived, and if you go down to with less than 7 points, like West Ham have at the moment. I know they're not newly promoted. Only 1 has survived well, which is 8% chance of survival. So I just wanted to chuck that in there, so you knew the odds as well.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate.
But no, I think
lovely stats.
It's pretty damning for all the teams that are in the league this year. You need to be wide, because it's not going to just be the teams that come up making numbers. They've proved it already. I think even all 3 of them.
Well, we don't have this in the order, but whilst we're talking about it, let's just skip to the Leeds West Ham game, and then we'll come back to the other 2 that we've got in the running order, because it feels apt to talk about the other 2 other teams in that mix. Like we'll go back to Friday night. Leeds comfortable 2-1 victory over West Ham.
Yes, this seems like an age ago, this game to me, because I was working that evening watching it, and then just all of the rest of the weekend in North London and just drinking all day each day. Leeds weren't great, but West Ham were fucking diabolical. I feel like I've shit on you a lot this season already, but I was watching it, and it was the first. We talked about it, didn't we, Saturday morning when we were having breakfast. Shocking defending for the first one and shocking defending for the second one. I've said to you, like, the second one, Pereira losing his man in the corner, it's not unsurprising really, so I'm not that shocked by that one. But for the first one, like, dreadful defending at the back post, for the ball to then come across and then just only be Leeds players reacting to it. Like it's just
Well, it's just two very, very easy goals. The first one, they just wanted, I mean, in this whole game, Leeds wanted it more. And the
yeah.
first goal, Aronson's goal, is evidence of that because there's three West Ham players who could clear it, and Aronson just rushes in
Well, it's
and is
that not even
is the
three of
first
them.
person to it.
It's not even three of them. It's like one of I can't remember who exactly it was, but one of them looks to clear it and does the weakest clearance when Wan-Bissaka's like leaving it for someone to clear, and it's just like okay, that's bad. And then Arison's obviously heard you saying he's not going to score a goal last week. He's absolutely like put it to the back of the net. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah, in this one, they made the lineup switch that I'd been suggesting with Altanaka coming in for Anton Stack. Like they went with the more attacking midfield, like a bit more sort of progression, and of course they did it against us. And it was a comfortable night for Leeds. Like that, like from a West Ham perspective, again, just can't defend a corner. Have two teams on the bounce now that we've looked that have been in and around us, and we've made it look like really good. Like I think you said it. Leeds weren't excellent in this game. They didn't have to be. They
no,
just had to want. They just had to want it more. And actually, the highlights of this match that I rewatched, they looked marginally better than this one felt at the time, like in real time. Like this felt on Friday night. This felt like much more of a beating from Leeds against West Ham. The highlights made us look a little bit better than we were because we were second best in this throughout.
but I just didn't understand the formation either when the game started. Like I was messaging you because I was like, how the hell is Wan-Bissaka and Juve and who's was it? Not Skelly, what Scarles on
Scars.
the other side. I was like, what is happening here? Who's playing where and what's going on? And it seemed like the players for bits just were like, oh, I'm so far out of position and don't know what I'm doing. And almost like felt like they were out of their depth or just didn't understand the formation. And you're saying it's not the first time this has happened under Nuno. Like, is he not learning from his mistakes? Like, where do West Ham go from here at the moment?
Well, yeah, in both of these games, he started Scholes as a right back, as a right wing back, and Wan-Bissaka on the left. In this one, as on the left centre back, seemingly with Diouf at left wing back, and it's just not putting players in the right position. The defence is very, very strange. Like Kilman and Todibo is the weakest centre back partnership ever, and both of them cost about 40 million, which is insane.
Mad.
Andy Irving and Thomas Soucek is the worst midfield duo in Premier League. Like they are just so slow and have no on the ball technique that it's just like they are big, but they just lumber around the pitch. Like Thomas Soucek has been a great servant to West Ham. He will be a cult hero for what he's done, the goals he's scored, but he only looked good for West Ham when you had players like Declan Rice, like absolute dynamism in midfield, doing so much of the work around him. We've never replaced Declan Rice. It's crazy to say, what, nearly 3 years later that we've just bought slow old midfielders. And yeah, Nuno's been getting the lineup wrong in recent weeks. Doesn't feel like there is a right lineup at this point, but yeah, that doesn't feel like that after this last week where we've played two teams who were like in and around us and looked second best by far in both of them. It doesn't feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel with this one.
Well, no, because you look at your next, I was going to say next four games, but you keep going. Newcastle at home, Burnley at home. If you don't win Burnley at home, then I think Nuno could be in trouble. But then you've got Bournemouth away, that's difficult. Liverpool at home, to be fair, that's one you'll probably get some points in. United away when they're looking good. Brighton away, who's always going to be a difficult game. Villa at home, City away.
At this point, every match in the Premier League looks really tough for West Ham. Though it's not even much point reading off the list because it's
No.
like it's like literally like everyone is going to give West Ham a proper game, and everyone going to the London Stadium or having West Ham come to them is going to think we should be getting 3 points out of this. Like they should. That is just a matter of fact. Like Leeds in this one, they just looked like they were like where against Burnley they had looked a bit defensive and a bit unsure at times of what they wanted to get out of the game because they were away. This one they were like they looked right up from minute one. Obviously being at home at Ellen Road plays a part, but they just were like they obviously I think also the opposition plays a part and they were like right, well, we should be getting 3 points at home against this West Ham team. And as I say, like the rest of the league will be thinking that too. So Nuno's got an absolutely massive job if he's going to turn this around. I don't think changing the manager is going to change anything. I think it's a squad issue. I think, yeah,
That's
it's
what makes
just,
it
as I say,
more.
it's going to be a long, long season.
I was gonna say that being a squad issue is what makes it more scary, though, doesn't it? Like you can maybe hear in the background Big Sam like rustling his fish and chips and pint of wine, making his way back to the London Stadium. But it's a bit more worrying. I mean, touch a bit on Leeds. I know we said I don't think they had to play too far their skin to get the win, but Rodon looked really good for them at the back. Like I think he was solid and didn't really let West Ham get up to much at all. So I think yeah, it was just not a vintage performance by Leeds, but just did what they had to do to get over the line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm glad you said some more about Leeds because all of my notes were just angry West Ham notes. So
yeah, I think we did have touch on Leeds. Do want to talk more on them and say like I want to be like they were fantastic, but I don't think they were fantastic for the win. Do you know what I mean? I think they
well,
just
they didn't have to be.
yeah,
So
that's exactly it. Like, but yeah, I think that's a big win for Leeds, and like I say, putting them on to 11 points with that stat that I was talking about earlier, it gives them every chance to survive. Cool. So yeah, I know we mixed up our order a bit there, but are we moving on to Newcastle Fulham next?
yeah, let's go for it. Yeah,
Nice.
Newcastle 2-1 Fulham. What did you think
Yeah.
about this one?
I thought it was an interesting game. I mean, I wouldn't want to be as a Calvin Bassey having a dreadful time with the two goals. It felt like Newcastle should have been away in this game by a long way. They should have been like cruising, and they let Fulham back into it, and then Fulham give the lead to their own downfall. I think fourth loss in a row for Fulham. It's a little bit
Hmm.
worrying. Like they're not looking in great shape in the table at all. Well, maybe let's touch on the game, then we can come back to that question about Fulham. Actually,
Yeah, I think Newcastle got the edge in this one. I don't think that. I think Fulham woke up after they went 1-0 down, but even before they went 1-0 down, Voltemada should have scored. I don't know
yeah, that
how
point
he's
blank.
missed that one.
Yeah, that's unbelievable how he's done that. Like he
Yeah,
banked
especially
his
a player in form. Like
Yeah,
he's banging them in. Like I thought that would have been hit in the back of the net, but
yeah.
yeah,
Pickford
he
Murphy
did.
then hits the post from a Leno save, actually. Like, they just looked threatening. They looked like what they do to a lot of teams that go up to St. James's Park.
Hmm.
They just like flood attack. And if you concede early against them, it can go downhill pretty quickly. Like, we had a 5-0 loss up there last season, and they do tear teams apart like that. So I guess it was
Yeah,
good on Fulham to be able to keep in it. But yeah, I feel for Bass again, caught on the ball. But yeah, he's just not got the strength really, and it's good strength from
well,
Jay.
he's got the strength, but he's just a bit of a clumsy footballer at times. Calvin Bassey, like he always has been, really since his Rangers days. Like he is decent enough, but he's not a world beater. He's gonna get knocked off the ball and get himself in a bit of a tizzy at times. And I do think fair play to Fulham for getting back into this game. As I say, they woke up after going 1-0 down. Kevin's impact off the bench was really positive. Like he was the one who sort of instigated the move, that his dynamism on the wing that ended up with Sasa Lukic just knocking it in from like 2 yards out,
Did
getting
you
his
say
head
knocking
where
it
he
in? He
didn't.
has cut his head open whilst doing it.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's put his head on the line though, and he's.
Fucking big
I mean,
time.
I say it's a knocking because it's like 1.5 yards away from the goal.
Yeah. No, they don't. Well, pretty much putting his body on the line there. I mean, Fulham did have some chances. I guess. I think if Fulham had taken 3 points from this, it would have been a bit of a smash and grab. But they did have a
Oh
Jimenez
yeah.
bicycle kick that didn't really challenge Pope too much. But I guess we just got to go into what was it, last minute goal from Gamarish. Like
Well, yeah. I mean, he should have
that's
had one earlier. Like he should have had a header, and then he made up
yeah,
for it late on with what was a bit of a fortunate finish that it came to him in the
yeah.
box.
Another mistake from Bassi, but it almost felt inevitable that Newcastle were going to get that goal in the last minute, didn't it?
Yeah, and I do think they deserved it overall. Like I think like Murphy got his goal earlier in the game, and then I think he should have had a second one, which was probably an easier chance out of the two, out of the one that he did score, and then the one that he didn't. I think Murphy's shown why he's in the team at the moment over Elanga for me. Like really, with that first one, really pressed Calvin Bassey into the mistake and slotted home. with how he performed last season. I know they signed Alanga for big money in the summer, but I don't think he's performed that well so far this season. So if it was me, if I was Eddie Howe, I'd be going Gordon and Murphy as my two, maybe even Barnes and Murphy at times. Like, but yeah, I think Newcastle deserved this one. Bruno Guimaraes with the late on, like, kind of lucky finish that it came to him, but I do think they deserved the 3 points in this match.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was actually a good game as well. It seemed quite end to end in places, but I think Newcastle's 3 points all day long. And yeah, they're looking a bit dominant now in the Prem, which is scary because I didn't want that to happen this year for them. I'm being honest.
Well, yeah, a little bit hit and miss. They're like they've got in their last five a draw, loss, win, draw, win, loss, win. So, but they've got West Ham next, so they'll put five past us.
I love that. Yeah, and then I guess go in full circle. Like, what do you making of Fulham? 4 losses in a row. Is it panic bells for Marcus Silva's team?
I mean, it has to be, doesn't it? Like they like 4 losses in a row. They've got Wolves next, who are going to be absolutely desperate for a point, like something. If they lose that game to Wolves, who are going to be fighting for their lives, that's 5 losses in a row. That pulls them right into the mix. Or like they are literally just outside of the relegation zone. It's interesting because I think we both thought Fulham would be a bit more comfortable than this. I do think there's some lack of business has played a part in this. Like they didn't get anyone in until right at the last minute, so like Kevin's playing catch up, etc. They've lost a couple of they've had a couple of games where Muniz and Jimenez weren't available to them. Their results have been inconsistent to say the least, like similar to what they were at the end of last season. I imagine they'll be fine. Like as we say in this one, they're in the game. They're creating chances. Probably could have got out of St James's Park with a draw, which would have been an excellent result, but didn't in the end. I think in general they'll be okay.
I think they'll be okay, but we had Hugo didn't we talking about it, and it didn't seem like they were too far off if they'd made a couple of big signings there, a couple of players who could really like do something on the ball, they'd be in a better position. But yeah, I think maybe we'll look back at Fulham's form in the next like 10 games and be like, oh, it was a bit of a blip to begin with, and then they found their feet. But yeah, I think that's everything to touch on that game. Where do you want to go to next?
Yeah, we're going along, so let's go to Bournemouth 2, Forest 0.
Yeah, I think this was probably the most comfortable and routine win of the whole weekend. Like, Forest, it looked like they didn't have a sniff. You had a Tavernier Olympico, which was nice to see. And yeah, I mean, Coopy with another goal. I mean, he is looking like an absolute bagsman at the moment.
Yeah, the baby-faced assassin from like 30 yards out in this one. One thing that is evidently clear from Bournemouth is that Iraola encourages them to shoot from distance. I don't think there's a team in the Premier League right now or in football who have that license to shoot from outside the box as much as Bournemouth do. Like they've scored plenty of goal of the season contenders over the last couple of seasons. Like Clivert's had a couple. Like Kruby Junior's in this one is excellent. Obviously, Tavernier had one earlier in the match that didn't go in, and then he gets the Olympico. This one was one-way traffic. Like Bournemouth goes second in the league behind Arsenal, and yeah, it was an excellent performance from Bournemouth in this one.
It really was. Like, I can't give them much more praise like I was giving Sunderland at the beginning of the game of show. Like, you look at Bournemouth, they've only lost the first game of the season, and they're unlucky to lose that against Liverpool. They would have every right to be the only unbeaten team left in the league now, and I don't think anyone could say anything against that because they have been shit hot the whole time. Yeah, I think touching on Forest quickly, they did well. Dyche did well to get that win against Porto, and the atmosphere looks like it was back then. But I still think they got a lot of work to do in the Premier League. I did have one of my mates at work, Phil. I want to give him a little shout out. Reached out to me about Forest and the feeling like round the club with it all, with like Dyche coming in, because I did say last week it being like, is Marinakis making a bit of a joke of the club to him, and he was saying like, let me know if I'm wrong, Phil, when I see you on Thursday. But like paraphrasing it a bit, it's like, you got to kind of look at where the club was when Marinakis came in and where it is now. It's not like in the doldrums of the Championship and bad decisions being made and like the fans being unhappy. They're still in Europe. They've got like everything going for them this season. Yes, the changes. It's not nice and it doesn't look good. But then Dyche coming in as a man that knows the club and he's going to bring a real fan atmosphere to it. Like having his youth career there. Apparently, he goes when he's been out of work. He's been seen at matches at Forest and he like lives near the local area. I think he's very much looking at the positives, and I think most Forest fans are. So sorry if I've been a bit harsh to Forest fans over the last few weeks with the Ant stuff, but yeah, I hope nothing but positivity for them now. But it's a lot for Dyche to turn around, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, late in the day, we've had a recording sent in from our mate Planty at 1,000 Things We Love About Film. So we'll put that in post for you guys. And yeah, this one, I think Forrest could probably feel a little bit pissed off about the corner that came off that Tavernier
Yeah,
then
definitely
scored the
want a corner.
Olympico from. Like it does come off Tavernier before, but so they could probably feel a bit aggrieved about that one. I would have expected a bit more after the Porto performance. I watched that game and they were fairly comfortable against Porto. Like they didn't give Porto any chances. It was pretty much a performance you would expect from Sean Dyche, even though he had very little time to get them like drilled before that one. But they obviously only scored 2 goals from penalties in that game, so might have been a bit of a false dawn so early on. This one they didn't create anything, and Bournemouth got the win.
Yeah, exactly that. Cool. Like I said, we're out of time. We'll put Planty's voice note in now for everyone to listen.
Hi lads, Planty here from 100 Things We Learned from Film podcast and resident Forest gobshite. How you doing? What a season it's been. What? Oh, it's only October? Right, okay. I've been asked to nail something down to a couple of minutes. Now, Forest season, is that possible? No. Firstly, Nuno. I mean, just one day, Nuno, don't fall out with club hierarchy. It seems to have happened everywhere, and I don't get it. Now, I'm not saying Marinakis is easy to get on with, because I think he would probably fall out in an empty bakery on his own, but, I just felt like there was the cusp of greatness there. I don't know. It started to fall off at the end of the season. This year wasn't the year for him to not do that. But look, we love him. We wish him all the best. If anybody can turn around West Ham, it's him. Sadly, I don't think even he can. The A word. Not that one. No. Ange, right? I'm 45 years old, right? I seen him come and I seen him go. And he never came. Like, he was never there, right? But he has gone. Thank fuck, right? What a strange, weird, crazy mental appointment that was. Again, down to Marinakis, I think. But his demeanour, his attitude, his cult of personality, I hated it. I hated it all. It never washed with me. I'm not saying I didn't want him at the club, because there was a couple of days when he joined, I thought, oh, do you know what? Chris Wood hat-tricks all round here. It just didn't happen, though. There were no goals, and when there was goals, there was no defence. And it's classic Ange, isn't it? And he kept going, oh no, mate, stick with me, mate. I'm going to get there, mate. Stick with me, mate. And it just doesn't work for me. I don't know how nice his shoes were, right? But they must have been stunning, because all he ever did was spent the games staring at his shoes. And I don't know how soft his hair was, but it must have been really soft, because all he ever did was spend all the game brushing his hand through his hair. But he's gone, right? His replacement, of course, Sean Guevara Dyche. Great win against a Porto side we weren't expected to get anything against. Europe's form side, Porto. And we got a great result, possibly a lucky penalty, but you'll take them. And then a really understandably tired-looking, lacklustre performance against one of the form teams in the Premier League. Well-drilled, strong, mentally prepared and niggly as well. They can be quite niggly, Bournemouth. Look, I have got a lot of respect for them, but I do love to hate them too. So we're 18th, and we don't look great, but I'm saying it now because when we did the start of the season, my predictions have gone so well already. We will not go down. We will not get relegated this season. We might even make knockouts of Europa League at this rate. I think in Sean I trust more than anything else, and that's to get the lads firing again, brimming with the confidence of last season. Because if he doesn't, well, it's manager number 4. And I don't think I could face that. I really don't think I could. I'm going to have to go and have a lie down in a darkened room. At least until the other form team in the Premier League, Manchester United, on Saturday. Anyway, take it easy, boys. Up the other 14. And hopefully I'll be back on at Christmas when we're bottom of the table. See you later.
Hey, cheers for that one, Ply. Just because we've had that in whilst doing the pod, we've not actually been able to listen to it all through, so we might depack that next week for you. But yeah, very much appreciated there, mate. Cool. Yep, like I said, running long now. So moving on to United Brighton. I mean, I'd like to spend a lot of time in this game, but probably shouldn't. This is when we were in the depths of the Sportsman in Wilson Junction with this game on, and yeah, when we were watching it, it was pretty much one-way traffic for United, wasn't it, unfortunately, for Brighton?
Yeah, and watching it back, it matched up with what we were feeling in the Sportsman's. It was so incredibly open from Brighton in midfield and defence. They were just making poor passes. They were really easily played around. United were creating chance after chance after chance. It was no surprise that Brighton conceded 4 in this one.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, maybe looking at the positives, it was a lovely free kick from Welbeck, wasn't it?
Yeah, really, really nice free kick. Probably goalkeeper might have been able to do better. It's quite central.
Mate, are you looking at my notes somehow? Literally, I keeper do better, very central. It didn't feel like that, didn't it? But it's just what you do. Then was it the Costellas?
Costellas, yeah.
There we go. Got my Greek fucking coming out of me there. Yeah, coming on, getting a goal from the Milner corner. I guess you've probably seen the stat. It's the first time someone's had assisted someone born after they started their career, which is pretty mad.
Milner made his Premier League debut, God knows when. I think it was 2002, I want to say. And then Costellas was born in 2007. So a couple of the nice things for Brighton in that game, but those were very much consolations, it felt like. I think we do just have to say they were absolutely played off the park in this one. They were far too open. They might feel a little bit aggrieved in a couple of them, like Casemiro's one that is definitely not going on target, hits Ayari and goes in, like massive deflection for United's second goal, I think it was. And then in the third one, there's for me a clear foul by Luke Shaw in the build up for the third. I think he pulls Jorginho Ruter's shirt, but those like little incidences aside, United deserved to score plenty against Brighton in this one. There were plenty of other chances and stuff, and yeah, I think the issues that we've been spotlighting about Brighton this season, they're not getting fixed, it seems.
No, there's something wrong, not wrong, like completely wrong, but there's something just not clicking there really for them. And to have a tactic where you're giving United, which maybe they're becoming more of a team, but are just fucking star players. If you give them star players space to do stuff, like Acuna and Mbeumo are going to take advantage of that, and it's exactly what happened. So, yeah, they could have conceded more than 4. I think when we were sat in the pub, they could have conceded 3, and they're already, 2-0 down at that point or whatnot. Cool. Okay. I think everything for that. Moving on to Everton Spurs. Not really. I didn't have much to really take away from this one, if I'm being honest. It just
I had a few notes.
Did you? I just felt like Everton just didn't really look up for it at all.
Really, I think this one was a bit of a catfish scoreline. I don't think this was a deserved 3-0 victory. I think Vicario made out some excellent saves for Spurs. I think Everton definitely could have scored. Like Grealish chance off the line early on, probably has to score, but it's cleared off the line. I think in this one they had the disallowed goal. I thought it was soft, but if it's for offside and interfering with the goalkeeper, then I can understand it. But I think
what about the Tottenham goal? That's pretty much...
that's what I was going to say. I think both of the first two are probably fouls on Pickford for Tottenham's goals. It's small, it's probably soft, but I do think they've nudged Pickford in both of them, and they've interfered with him.
Yeah, well, if you get ruling out the one for Vicario getting what fouled by Grealish and I, or being offside, I had to do a little like or for that one because I wasn't sure what it was actually given for. That seems harsh, but then if you're giving it for that one, you got to give it for the other one. So I'd be fuming if I was an Everton fan for that one. But I mean, they still did get undone by the two corners, even if the keeper is getting like, you can't be giving those free headers away, can you?
No, no, yeah. I mean, a couple of bad bits of defending, but I was surprised that they weren't given. And then Spurs get a late one when Everton are pushing.
Yeah.
Beto had an acrobatic chance that I think he probably should have scored from.
Mate,
It's like it's a difficult one, but
if he scored that one, I was going to say it's like that's the type of goal that gets scored against Palace by your Andy Carrolls or your. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, Everton's first loss at the Hill Dickinson. I mean, I don't think it's going to be one they're going to be looking back at like and worrying too much. I don't think. I don't think there's anything in that game where Everton fans need to look at it and be like, we were terrible. I think it just wasn't really their day, and that's why I didn't have like much more really to take away from it. And it looked
yeah,
fucking awful up there for Sunday night as well in the pissing rain. Bramley-Moore Docks, like that must have been cold as hell because it was cold when I was up there and it wasn't even raining. So yeah, yeah, I think that's just a move on for Everton fans. I don't think any Everton fans going to be listening to this pod wanting to hear anything about the game. And then another game that I can't be bothered talking about, and I don't think we should talk about because it was boring as hell. Arsenal Palace, Ebbs scoring, footballing. Anything else you want to talk about this game? Because I felt like I wasted 90 minutes there.
it was a bit lucky. It was just 1-0, right? I think Arsenal created some chances and they probably should have scored at least a couple more, like a couple more from set pieces and stuff. I think Palace were quite clearly second best in this. They pounced on a couple of Arsenal mistakes, but they couldn't get a shot off at all in the game. And
Yeah,
I think Arsenal could have got at least a second.
yeah, but what are you going to do against anti-football, which is Arsenal right now? It was like being at the Britannia again, in all honesty. Like, yeah, we had any chance we had, we got smothered pretty much. I do think early in the first half were good for a draw, but I think as soon as Ebb scores, everything went flat. I think Arsenal fans and Arsenal's team were probably happy it all went flat because they could play in a silent stadium again, and it'd just be the most boring affair ever. I don't think we deserve to lose that, if I'm being honest. I don't think they did enough to win it either. Maybe I'm being a bit
Mm, very
pessimistic.
biased.
Maybe I'm being biased, but mate, I stood through that and I never felt like under pressure for them. None of the ways I usually have going up there. Usually, like, I go there and it's like, oh shit, like, we're lucky we're holding on to anything there. That game, I just stood there. I was like, nothing's happened. I was literally there, like, what is going on at this game? Like, I was like,
Yeah,
is this
it's
team
a
not.
boring game. We should move on.
Thank you, thank you. Cool. Okay, let's take a break then. We'll go into Pete Barclays. Okay, and we're back for Pete Barclays. Who do you have for us this week, Tom?
Well, we've got a diminutive conductor in the middle of the park, winning the ball and setting his team off on the attack. Gracing the parks of St James and Selhurst, it's Johan Cabaye. Partly because I've got a cold and I just want to let Alex talk for most of this. So, yeah.
Mate, I'll happily take that away for you. Jurgen Cabaye, what a player. He was the. Oh, I don't want to make it too Palace because he probably had his better time, in all honesty, at
Would you want me
Newcastle.
to talk about Newcastle and then
Yeah,
you can
that's
talk
probably going to
about
be the
Palace?
best,
Let's do that. All
the
right.
smarter thing.
So played for Newcastle 2011 to 2014 and then Palace 2015 to 18. In that time in the Premier League, he got 175 appearances, 26 goals and 15 assists. I think most fans will know him for that Newcastle team. It
Yeah,
was the second season after they were promoted, 2011-12 when he signed, that featured plenty of other players who are likely to come up as Pete Barclays men in the future. Your Demba Bars, Hatem Ben Arfa, Papis Cisse, Colaccini, Jonas Gutierrez, the Amiobis, Tim Krul. They went on to finish fifth in the league that year and were just sublime to watch at times.
they really were. Like, that, it was just that part. It sums it up, that Newcastle team. Like, when I think of Newcastle nowadays, I don't know why it's always that team that comes to my head first. But yeah, then he came to Palace, well, after a short stint at PSG. And it was one of those first signings that we made where it's like, holy shit, like, are we actually a Premier League club now? Do you know what I mean? He was the first one that came through the door and it was like, my God, we can't sign a player like that. I imagine it was similar for when we got like Lombardo back in like the 90s, and Palace fans were like, oh my God, maybe we're an actual serious club now.
Well, he was a record signing for you, wasn't he? At the
Yeah,
time.
it was. And he came in, I think we were expecting like him to be banging goals like he did at Newcastle, to be linking up with Pardew again and be doing all that. But he never actually played that role for us. He played more of a holding midfielder, more of a
Mm,
creator in our team. But I think on his first appearance ends up getting a goal against Norwich, and we're looking like shit, we're going to be amazing. We started that season really well as well. I think we were second coming into Christmas at that point, and then the wheels fell off as it usually does with Alan Pardew. But throughout his time at Palace, he has like some great goals. I remember one of my favourites being at Selhurst Park was against Arsenal. I think he gets the
mhm.
third goal, which is like a looping looping shot from just outside the box. And I remember being an absolute frenzy that night at Selhurst. And yeah,
Yeah.
he takes us to. I mean, I don't think he played the biggest part in our FA Cup run, but he was still in that midfield with Jed Knight, taking us to the FA Cup final against United and nearly doing it for us. Like, he'd go down as a Palace legend always for that. But he also had a
Yeah, some
great.
of his other goals in his Newcastle time as well. He scored some absolute belting free kicks. There's one against Man
Yeah,
United where it smashes the crossbar and in, which is just such a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing, the noise, and then it just hits over the line. And then he also scored a couple of bangers against Liverpool. One of them it felt like was like 40 yards out that just went into the far post. And yeah, he scored 4 penalty goals in his time in the Premier League. 3 of them came in Palace's 15-16 season, interestingly enough.
yeah, that'd be Wolf getting the penalties for him. I could tell you that now. But yeah, I mean, yeah, absolute top player, and he was a different level to anything Palace had had before. He did get a bit of not a bit of hate, but I think some Palace fans expected more because of basically what he was doing in Newcastle. We were expecting those 40-yard screamers, but he was more of a technician for us in our team. What interesting fact do you have for us on him?
So a couple. So firstly, he's actually of Vietnamese descent via his paternal grandmother,
I did not know
which I thought
that.
was quite interesting.
Yeah.
And then secondly, a little bit topical, as the beta of this game just came out, he is apparently a football manager addict. His biggest achievement on the game is winning back-to-back Premier Leagues with Newcastle. He says he likes to play as the manager of the team he is in. So there's actually a very awkward video that I'll put in the description of him talking to someone from Palace TV and his mate who was Alex Carter from Hollyoaks and Emmerdale fame, and it is the most cringeworthy, awkward 13-minute video of them like just chatting about Football Manager like absolute nerds with Johan Kabay.
Man, I'm surprised you're not in that video, you absolute football manager. Have you got the new version yet or no?
I haven't got the beta, but I will absolutely be buying the copy when it comes out.
I love how it'll just be me doing podcasts for a few weeks when that comes out.
Yeah, I'll just put in a segment at the end and we'll just talk about how my football manager addiction is going.
Exactly what we don't want. Oh god. Cool. Okay, I think that's everything. So we can maybe
Oh,
move into
wait, where are
prediction.
we putting him?
Oh shit! Didn't even think about that. Oh,
I think I'm gonna be harsh and say, below Yannick Bolasie.
I was thinking below Yannick Bolasie, but I don't know if I was being lazy just bringing him up because of obviously the connections in the team. I'd probably put him below
Well,
him. Yeah. Who?
yeah, I'm thinking Gravison, Hitzelsberger, they feel a bit more peak Barclays for me.
I
Yannick
would.
Bolasie, same era,
I might put him
definitely
on.
above Peter Odemwingie.
I'd put him above Peter and Wingy, but not above Kenwyn Jones. Weirdly enough. So should we put him in between the two of them? No. No, put him underneath Yannick Bolasie. Yeah, done.
Yeah. All right. He's
Right.
slotting in at 12.
Cool. Okay, and then we'll do our predictions. So, first, we're going to start with Brighton Leeds at the Amex, 3 o'clock Saturday. I'm going to go Brighton win for this one. Just feel like,
Yeah, I agree. I think Brighton are going to win this one 2-0.
yeah. Burnley, Arsenal. Fuck it. I'm going to go for a Burnley win.
Anti-football of this one is probably going to be a 1-0 Arsenal win.
No, I'm going Burnley win. Fuck Arsenal and their boring shit. Palace Brentford. 3-1 Brentford. Can feel it. Feel it in my plums.
Oof. This feels like the Palace Bournemouth game all over again. I might go for a Desmond 2-2.
Cool. Fulham Wolves. Oof, it's a big game, isn't it, for Fulham? I
It's a
think,
big game for Wolves.
yeah, I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw, and I think neither team's going to get what they want out of it.
I think Fulham at home, if they should get this over the line, I think they're going to win 3-1.
Okay, cool. Then Forest United at the Sea Ground. Oh, I think it might be another loss for Sean Dyche. I think it might be 2-1 United, unfortunately.
I think it might be 1-1.
One, you feeling it? You think Dyche will be anti-football beyond belief and just put everyone behind it?
Yeah, I
Get
think
on
they
the
might
boat.
smash and grab just a point, just get out of there with a point.
Cool. Liverpool Villa. I think Villa are going to go Anfield and turn them over. Maybe a 3-0.
3-0. Yeah, I'm a little less confident, but I do agree. I think Villa have a great chance of getting 3 points at Anfield. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa.
Cool. West Ham Newcastle Sunday 2:00. Are you going to that game?
Unfortunately, so I'm not gonna even try and be optimistic about this at this point. I'm gonna say Newcastle are gonna batter us 4-0.
Yeah, you can see Voltemala doing some damage against your back too, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can see a bloodbath. Yeah, I'm going to go 3-0 Newcastle, unfortunately. It's not good times there. City Bournemouth, top of the table. Oh, no, not top of the table clash, but Champions League clash there. I'm going to go Bournemouth for the win here as well. I think 2-1 Bournemouth. I'm being pretty ballsy with my predictions this week.
You are. You get where you backed out of them last week. You're gonna
Yeah.
back yourself. I think it'll be a draw. I think I'm gonna go 1-1.
Cool. Then Sunderland Everton. I can see nothing but a Sunderland win for this one at 8 p.m. kickoff on a Monday night at the Stadium of Light. I'm going Sunderland.
Does David Moyes have a revenge game in this one? Was he treated badly at Sunderland, or was he just an abject failure and probably not looked at quite fondly by Sunderland fans? I think Sunderland at home, they'll probably get a win in this one. I'm going to go 2-1 Sunderland.
Nice. Cool. Okay, that's everything. Now, before we wrap up, my mate that I went to the Arsenal game with is a Leyton Orient fan, and he's been begging me to put a League One segment in for him. So we took a quick little recording outside of the stadium, and here it is. There you go, Mike. Enjoy your 5 minutes of fame. Okay, so Miguel, we're leaving. Well, we've left Arsenal Palace. Not the best game ever, but don't think Arsenal deserve to win.
Terrible game, but Palace could have won that one.
They could have won it.
They could have taken it.
They could have taken it, but yeah, there's not much to talk about that game at all, I don't really think. Ebb scoring is just going to be football. It's the most football thing ever. Cool, we'll get into it then. Let's go into League One analysis. What's going on in League One, as you being a Leyton Orient fan at the moment?
Don Ballard or Aaron Connolly, top goal scorers. It's going to happen. It's actually going to happen.
But what's the main thing about League One that's happening for you at the moment?
Big deal. Scarves are about £13, which is sounds really reasonable. So I'm really going to take one of those.
It's nice to learn about the lower leagues, but yeah. Did you think it was any different watching a Premier League game today?
Seems about the same sort of level. So
I mean, it was Arsenal Palace, so yeah, I can understand that.
yeah, I really think Orient could take Palace actually.
Fuck right up.
Palace didn't seem
Hey, what do you think of the atmosphere in the Emirates
shit.
compared to the Orient?
Shit. One word. Shit.
Cool, that'll do it all then. Love you, brother. Cool. Cheers for listening. Feel free to rate and review us and tell your friends. Feel free to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Reddit at Other14FC Podcast, and email in at other14podcast@gmail.com. But yeah, otherwise, enjoy your week, and sorry you had to listen to us for well over an hour this week.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.